Yeah. You can press it on your own.
Okay, got it. Okay, calling to order this month's meeting of the Surveillance Advisory Board. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, then we'll continue with roll call.
Board Member Stewart,
Present.
Board Member Owen,
Here.
Board Member Bross,
Here.
Board Member Lee,
Here.
Board Member Cohen-Thompson.
Here.
Got a quorum.
Okay, we do have a guest in the audience. Do we have any community forum speakers? Any online?
Through the chair, I went ahead and started a 2-minute timer, which is reflected on the top left corner of your screen for interested parties to sign up to be a part of the community forum. As of right now, we do not have any members with their hands raised on Zoom or any members that have signed up in the back of the council chambers in the terminals. But once the conclusion of that timer has been reached, I will inform you of whether or not anyone has signed up for community forum. Feel free to carry on with the agenda.
Okay, moving on to the approval of minutes from last meeting.
So moved.
Stewart, and then Cohen-Thompson. Okay. Moving on to report of
Actually,
the...
before we can move on, I had one small issue with the minutes from last time. And I think we've had an issue with the minutes for the last 3 meetings, but I believe in the second action in the calendar, there was an action moved by Board Member Stewart. The minutes suggest that it was seconded by me, Board Member Bross, but I believe it was actually Board Member Cohen-Thompson.
Okay. I'll make that adjustment.
The second action, on page 6 of 30.
Okay, moving on to the report of the committee.
I think we need a roll call vote for that.
Sorry, yeah, okay, roll call vote?
Board Member Stewart?
Yes.
Board Member Owen? Yes. Board Member Bross?
With that change, yes.
Yep. Board Member Lee?
Yes.
Board Member Cohen-Thompson?
Yes.
Okay, motion pass.
Great. There's no report from the committee. Any report from the board secretary?
The only thing to report is that our next scheduled meeting is November 20th.
Thank you.
Through the chair, if I may. Mr. David, if you don't mind, just giving a little background about yourself. I know we met you last meeting, but we didn't have any discussion or a report from you last time. So just a welcome to you, and yeah, if you could just proceed.
Okay. I've been with the city for 10 years. I was a consultant for about 20 years doing IT. I'm a City of Vallejo resident. I've been here for the past 40 years, and I'm just taking over for Naveed since he went to Fairfield.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Okay, any report from the city attorney?
Nothing to report.
To the chair, it seems we have a new person from the city attorney's office. Can he be introduced also?
Yes, hello. My name is Angad Gangapuram. I'm Deputy City Attorney, just filling in for Chief Assistant City Attorney Randy Reisner today.
Congratulations.
Okay, moving on to the report from the city council liaison. I don't see him here. Was any report submitted to the secretary?
Nothing submitted.
Okay. Moving on to, no report from the chairperson. Any reports from the members of the committee?
Yeah, I just had two, I guess you'd call them two thoughts for the rest of the board for discussion or just to play some ideas in your heads. And this came after the last couple of meetings. When putting something to a vote, I would suggest, and I'm happy to discuss, offering some context for that vote. The last couple of times we've had votes, sort of something up or down, and I don't know how many people, we only have one person in the audience today, I don't know how much of the public actually listens to the meeting. I think it would provide a good service and fulfill some of our duties as part of the board to offer a little bit of reasoning as to why we're voting on something. So it may not be possible for every vote, but perhaps I'm voting to approve X technology for reasons A and B. And then if someone disagrees with those reasons, they can vote it down. But offering a little context might be helpful in the future for the public and also for the council to really understand why we're voting the way we're voting. So that's one thing, and I'll mention one other, just similarly as a matter of courtesy to the rest of the board members, and again, not necessary, but as a matter of courtesy, simply before putting something to a vote, asking the rest of the board members, do you have any additional questions? I'd like to put this to a vote. That provides some sort of confidence that we've all had our time to ask the questions that we think are necessary. But just those two ideas, and happy to discuss or...
To the chair, those are Brown Acts, so we do that. If we're not, then we're not following the Brown Act, because what you just said, that's part of the Brown Act.
I think what I'm trying to say is when we're putting something to a vote, for instance, at the last meeting, we were voting, right? We were voting, are we in support of this technology? We just said yes or no. The discussion we have is all wonderful and important and vital and part of the Brown Act. That's why we have these public meetings. What I'm suggesting is when we put something to a vote, the vote is not up or down, it's up for reasons A and B. And that, in that manner, maybe we have some more context, so when the council looks at our votes, or when the public looks at our votes, they see the reason we voted in a certain way, and maybe it's more transparent for the public.
So with Robert's rules, then, when we discuss it, what do you consider our discussions? Because we always discuss before we make I just want this for clarity. So when we discuss a matter, before we put it to vote, what do you consider that discussion? Because we're all putting an input in, and we're expressing our perception, if you will, of whatever it is that we're discussing. So what on top of that are you suggesting?
So it's a valid and important point. I would consider that the discussion. What I'm suggesting is we include some reasoning as part of the vote. And the reason is simply because we don't live, and this is not a perfect environment, where the public is listening to our... Thank you. So if the public is not listening to our hour of discussion, maybe they will see when it's reported in the news, when it's discussed in council, the actual vote with those reasons behind it.
Actually, thank you for those recommendations, Board Member Bras. I personally don't see any conflict with the Brown Act, but we'll defer to guidance from the city attorney if he thinks otherwise.
Really, it wasn't the Brown Act, it was Robert's Rules. I said Brown Act, but really Robert's Rules of Order, rather than the Brown Act.
Okay. I'd like to hear his comments.
No, but I made the mistake by
Okay.
saying Brown Act.
Go ahead.
I understood. If you'd like to offer additional context, that'd be appropriate.
Thank you. And I think just, this is going to be discretionary, not required, so every board member can act and speak his or her rationale for voting on a particular measure. Okay. So any other, okay. Board Member Stewart.
I'm just more of a question for Board Member Barras. So are you just suggesting that at each person votes, because we typically do voice votes, are we just commenting at that point, or are you asking that staff put it into the minutes for why each person voted that way? I just want to make sure I understand how it's operationalized.
No, and this is the reason I brought it up for discussion. I don't have a sort of a formula that would be appropriate for everybody, but the way I was thinking about it was when someone offers up something for a vote to say, I'm putting this for a vote because of A and B. These are my reasons. I vote to, put up the surveillance towers because I think there's minimal impact on privacy, and that's my reason.
Got it, okay.
And then the rest of the board members can voice vote as appropriate and maybe offer some clarification why they're voting the way they're voting.
All right, thank you.
Okay, the city attorney.
As the chairperson said earlier, that'd be appropriate and discretionary. If you would like to vote like that, that's fine.
Okay, any other comments from the board, reports from the board? Okay, moving on to the action calendar. We're following up on the Flock Raven gunshot detection data report. Surveillance Advisory Board to weigh in and make a recommendation or not to make a recommendation to the Vallejo City Council concerning the use of Flock Raven gunshot detection.
I'm sorry, board. It's actually
We're on-
the ad hoc.
10A?
Here,
Sorry. So I was looking at the, okay, all right, sure. Sorry. I was looking at the last meeting's minutes. Okay. So, yeah, the action calendar, board to appoint an ad hoc committee to work with VPD for mobile security tower policy recommendation. We are currently, just to remind everyone, we are currently pending the creation of a Vallejo city policy. We are using the San Francisco city policy for the mobile security towers. And so any volunteers for the board? I'm sorry, for the subcommittee?
I would volunteer, yes.
I had volunteered.
That was the other committee, right. So,
We have we already have an ad hoc committee that we formed for the work plan.
right.
And board member Owen and I met yesterday.
Right.
So-
So that, yeah, that's
That's a separate committee.
That subcommittee has already been
Which,
approved.
Ms. Thompson, you're also a part of, but I know you're busy yesterday.
So this is a vote to approve a subcommittee to work with VPD for the mobile security tower policy. So we have Board Member Bras and then Board Member Owen. Did you want to volunteer? Sorry.
Are you volunteering?
Well, I'm asking for a volunteer and,
Yeah, I mean, if you, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I think we're a little
Wonderful.
light on the ground
Do we-
here, so sure.
wonderful. Do we have another?
I would volunteer.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Double duty, Board Member Cohen Thompson, thank you. All right, so can we vote?
Board Member Stewart,
Yes.
Board Member Owen,
Yes.
Board Member Bros,
Yes.
Board Member Lee,
Aye,
Board Member Cohen Thompson.
Yes.
Motion passed.
thank you. Okay, now moving on to the information calendar, VPD's monthly technology usage reports for drones, cell site simulator, and Flock ALPR, as well as Flock Raven gunshot detection. Over to you, Captain.
Good evening, Board. We've provided with you all the technology usage reports for all of those technologies that Chair Lee mentioned. Go ahead and take a minute to take a look at them, and please advise if you have any questions.
Your microphone's not on.
Board Member Stewart, if you have a question.
Hi, Captain Batista. Question for you, and I understand there's only one analyst at this time. I would actually like to ask the rest of the board, but also you, if we could potentially change this format in which we get the shots fired call for service log. I know, I'll say the board had asked for an entire list of all the shots fired reports and the Raven hits, but as we've obviously gone into the later part of the year, it's just tough to follow at this point. But I'm thinking in my mind, I want to hear what everyone else has to say about something where if there's a shots fired report, that if there are Ravens that are hit with that shots fired alert, or that get a hit there, that we can sort of tie it to that rather than having to chase where it is and what's hit and kind of go through that. Because as we see, obviously there's more Ravens, and we talked about this before, where you may ping one or two with one gunshot, and so which is another issue because obviously it looks like there's more hits and gunshots than there may actually be occurring in our city. But in my mind, I would just want to see something where it's a little bit easier to follow, and we can actually tie which Ravens were hit to which actual shots fired confirmation we got, and if there's nothing that's tied to it and it may have been a false hit, at least those are somewhere separate from it, rather than just, yes, it's in chronological order, but also it still doesn't quite help as we get down the list and flip through pages here.
Yes, so I want to preface it by letting you know that some of the Raven alerts that are accompanied by a shots fired alert are not necessarily categorized as a shots fired alert, as a shots fired call. Like there have been some examples where it was entered in as a assault with a deadly weapon, or there was one case where it was entered in as a found property by the dispatcher, so therefore it wouldn't catch the shots fired. However, if you want me to just show the exact correlation with specific to shots fired calls and with a matching Raven, I can have our analysts do that. However, doing the deeper dive into looking for calls that are not labeled as shots fired calls, but rather labeled something else, and it turns into that type of call is more of a lift for my analyst.
So wait, so we get Raven hits even when there's not a shot, when shots aren't fired?
If you're asking specifically for a shots fired call.
Well, what I'm asking for is what we have here, where there is, I wrote it down, 636 Raven shots fired, and there's only 459 shots fired on the other document here, or on the other category. So you're saying that there's actually more Raven hits that actually happen?
No. The Raven hits are what they are.
Okay.
Those will always remain the same. However, when I believe I explained it in one of our previous meetings where the calls are inputted as shots fired by dispatch.
Right.
It all determines the way we pull the information is the way dispatch inputs it. So as long as it's a shots fired call and it has a correlation to a Raven hit, then yes, I'd be able to easily provide that. However, talking about more deeper dive into calls that are not labeled as a shots fired, it would take some additional work for my analysts.
Do we often get, do you often respond to calls where they input shots fired where there's actually no shots fired? Is that a common occurrence?
No.
Maybe I'm misunderstanding.
Yes, so say for instance, a dispatcher or a new dispatcher says, inputs a found property, like they found a bullet jacket or a shell casing or something, by their car. They'll input it as a found property, and it wouldn't be labeled shots fired as you could see on the left side, right?
Right.
And so it wouldn't be caught in this, when the analyst inputs for shots fired calls only, it wouldn't be caught in that category.
Okay.
If you understand.
I follow.
Yeah, and then rather it would be in the found property
Right.
category for a call.
Gotcha.
So, but those aren't very, very often, but you would have to do a deeper dive
Sure.
into.
And I'm not asking for that. I'm just asking for what we have here.
Yes, I could absolutely get a correlation
Yeah.
between these both of these, and then merge them to one list that would show a combined. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, and maybe it's a similar sheet to what we have with the, I believe with the cell site simulator usage where it's coming in an Excel format type document. That may be for me more helpful, but that is just from my perspective, and I'm only one of 6 here, so, and the rest of the community. Thank you, Chair.
Board Member Owen, did you have a question?
Yeah, actually, I had a question, more general, related to our procurement process. So I'm curious to know, does the police department sign NDAs with vendors as part of their procurement process or as part of their operational relationship with these vendors?
Do we sign NDAs?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Okay, I would love to hear an answer to that. I know when the Stingray devices were coming out originally, the manufacturer required all police forces to sign an NDA and not discuss them. So I'm curious if we have signed any NDAs with vendors. Obviously, you probably can't tell me that you've signed it, but you can tell me if there are any that have been signed, because I think it's interesting from a procurement perspective if you can engage, you can get into that relationship.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Which is Board Member Owen, we got a request to speak A little bit louder when you're into the microphone. Yeah.
Could I ask that he repeat that, because you were in and out?
Yeah, sure. So what I'm asking is, does the police department sign non-disclosure agreements with equipment vendors as part of their procurement process or part of their operational relationship with the vendor? This is the question. It speaks to, are there things that cannot be discussed because of that relationship? It also, it's interesting because we're having a little trouble getting information we need to validate, to vet some of these vendors because we as the city can't sign these NDAs. But I'm curious to know if the police force is able to sign them and summarize the information. So that's what I'm trying to get at here.
I just couldn't hear all of it.
No, fair enough. Thank you.
Could I ask the city attorney's office to weigh in if you have any information that would be responsive to Councilmember Owen's question?
I don't have any information directly answering that question, but we can look into it and bring back an answer next time.
Thank you. Could we make a point to look into it and then respond with an answer from the city attorney's office for next meeting, please?
Yes, we can.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Okay. Any other questions for the captain? Go.
Just another broad question. Are you aware, in the last maybe 3 months, have there been any requests for information from any federal agency to the police department of Vallejo?
Are you talking about with regards to the technology usage reports, or are you talking about with regards to the technology usage reports, or?
With respect to anything, that may be the information that's contained in the technology usage reports, for
Not that
instance,
I'm
license
aware
plate?
of. No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Just to restate a question that's been asked at previous meetings now, is it true, Captain Batista, if you could please confirm, my understanding is that the city and the state of California prohibits any data sharing to federal authorities. And that applies for Raven, applies for any kind of technology that the VPD is employing. Is that correct?
Yes, we limit our data sharing to the state of California.
Thank you. And okay, Board Member Owen?
That's interesting. So my question to the city attorney is, does that include national security letters received for the federal government? This restriction to share data outside of California?
A national security letter? I'm sorry, I'm a little confused as to what that refers to. In terms of ALPR.
These are the letters generated by the FISA court. So I'm curious if what our policy is there, and if maybe I can leave that with you and you can respond to it next time.
Yeah, I could look into that. But in terms of the ALPR data and flock data, that is restricted to law enforcement agencies within California itself, and it's not shared with federal law enforcement.
All right, thank you.
Sorry, last question. 2 questions here. How many Raven gunshot detection software, or how many systems do we have throughout the city?
It covers 4 square miles.
So how many do we have? Like, how many actual devices do we have in our possession?
I don't have the exact number. I could get that for you. I believe it's somewhere in the realm of 100.
Okay, are we looking to acquire more at any point?
I would like to eventually, yes.
Did PD budget for that in this past fiscal year? Or for that ask to come to council at some point?
I believe we are in the works of trying to find some financial way to pay for that, to expand eventually.
Okay. Well, all right. And then same thing for ALPRs. Are we looking to acquire more? And then,
Yes.
yeah, and how many do we have throughout the city?
I'd have to look at that as well.
Okay, yeah. If you could just provide that to us in an email, I'd appreciate that.
Sure.
Thank you, sir. That's all, Chair.
Go ahead, Board Member Ross.
I wanted to follow up on something Board Member Owen just requested, so specifically to the city attorney. I was wondering if for next meeting, the city attorney might provide a brief overview of what sort of laws and policies restrict the sharing of information from the police department. And that way we all have a better insight into what is applicable, what is law versus policy of Vallejo.
Yes, we could have that done.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Okay. Okay, thank you, Captain Bautista.
Thank you, Board.
Now, moving on to future agenda items.
To the chair, I believe we have to vote to accept that, or are we okay?
What's that? What?
Do we need to vote to accept that, or is it information only if we're okay?
It's only
Thank
informational,
you.
yeah. No
My mistake, I apologize.
Sorry, I didn't hear you anyway. Okay, but now moving on to future agenda items, is any board member have a recommendation? Go ahead, Board Member Bross.
So what we just discussed, I'd like to put as a future agenda item, getting a report from the city attorney on the sharing of information.
I'd also like that, in addition to your city attorney's office's response to Board Member Owen's question regarding NDAs for next meeting.
Yes, so I have the two questions, one relating to the NDAs regarding all the technology, and then one regarding data sharing, specifically in FISA processes and other national security issues. And you'd like that in a written report, is my understanding.
Actually, just to clarify, I was hoping for a report on sharing of information more broadly than just FISA. I mean,
With any federal agencies?
Right,
Okay,
right.
correct. I can get that done, yes.
Which also includes the request for a list of all of the laws that prohibit sharing with federal authorities. That's city, county, state. All right, any other questions or ideas? Okay, go ahead.
I've got a two-parter here. One, I just wanted to ask our city attorney representative, do you know where we are with the changing of the ordinance for our board to have regular meetings on a monthly basis?
I do not.
Okay. All right.
That-
And then, go ahead.
No,
And
you
then
go ahead.
on the second note there, what I've been told, or what I've actually seen on the council agenda, is there is an agenda item coming forth this Tuesday where they will be discussing council council referrals, excuse me. And I know that was at one point one of them. Then board member Source, now Mayor Source, pushed for it, and I'm hoping that she'll push for it again on the dais on Tuesday evening. But if you all have the time, I would ask that we show up, or at least send a comment to our council members. Or if we can't be here, I can't be here, but if we can maybe online and just provide comments and share our thoughts on the importance of us having regular monthly meetings rather than bi-monthly meetings.
Thank you for that, Board Member Stewart. And just to recap the newest members of the board, this is a request we've been trying to get the city council to agendize for going 2 years now. So this is, it's been in demand for a long time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And what I was last told from a representative from your office was that it was ready to go. And then I just learned from the city manager that it's coming forward in a council referral. So it may be just figuring out where this is. It may be further along than we think. But yeah, it's been a long time coming.
Thank you, Board Member Stewart. Any other proposals or thoughts for future agenda items from other board members?
To the chair, Board Member Stewart's request for the number of the raven flocks in the city, perhaps that should be on the agenda as well, because you asked for that, so then we should be able to expect that for the next meeting.
Yeah, I mean, I would
To
hope.
ask it of him,
Yeah.
but to put
Yeah.
it on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
agenda.
Absolutely. Well,
Great idea.
I'll give the opportunity for them to bring it forth, and I know we have to do the two-step process, and I really don't want to get into the mess of that. And so, if we don't get it forth, then I'll ask for it in a future agenda item at next meeting.
Great.
But thank you, Board Member Thompson.
Okay, thank you. All great ideas. Going once, going twice. No, okay, so any last call for future agenda items? Otherwise, we'll just move to adjourn. Okay, thank you, board. Meeting is adjourned. All right.